Hello everybody, Cal Banyan here, Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc. And you know what? I'm really excited to be back, especially with this very special guest. Let me tell you what, Dr. Reverend Scot Giles, in my opinion, is one of the smartest guys in the profession. And I've got some, just to let you know how smart he is, I've got some information here. Scot is a board-certified chaplain and certified instructor with the National Guild of Hypnotists. He has his hospital-affiliated practice focuses on medical hypnotism and is especially well known around the country for his work with cancer patients. He has been He has been the affiliated community minister at Countryside Church Unitarian Universalist in Palatine, Illinois since 1991. So he's got all this up here in his brain, and he's got soul too. Scot is a member of the advisory board of the National Guild of Hypnotists, and he carries the legislation and government concerns portfolio, which means he's like our legal liaison, fighting for us every day, it seems like. He's the man that knows what's going on everywhere. I'm just simply amazed. Scot has received most of the awards offered by the National Guild of Hypnotists, including the top award, the Rexford North Award for Lifetime Achievement, and the Ormond McGill Chair Award, which I still covet. In 2006, the board certification of the National Guild of Hypnotists elevated him to the status of board certified diplomate. Including Scot, there are only only 20 diplomates of the National Guild of Hypnotists in the world. He is a member of the Order of Braid and International Honors, which is an international honor society for hypnotism. Scot is awarded, getting away from hypnotism a little bit, just to show he's also a well-rounded individual. Scot is an award-winning second-degree black belt in Taekwondo Karate and currently is studying as a swordsman in the Soul of Sword tradition. Scot is a former professional chef. He lives in Wheaton, Illinois with his wife and cats, and the general consensus is the cats are in charge. And if you want to know more about Scot and the things he talks about with me today, and over the next 3 episodes as well, go to his website, www.csgiles, that's GILES.org. He's doing a bunch of talks I'll talk about later at the NGH convention. You're going to want to do it. You will walk away smarter than you went in. How you doing, Scot?
Well, hi, Cal. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm delighted to do this podcast with you. Cal, you and I are old friends, and you know I have a great admiration for what you've created with the 5-path hypnosis system. I'm not a 5-pather myself. My own intellectual traditions go deeper into the Ericksonian tradition and the cognitive behavioral traditions of Drs. Herbert and David Spiegel. But I think when a person is becoming a hypnotist, after basic training, you need to have a way of going farther and deeper. And the best way to do that is an organized, structured system. And no one's got a better system than you do for that. And I routinely recommend people who come to me for training or for advice that they take your program. And the Lifetime Achievement Award of the Banyan Hypnosis Institute hangs prominently on the wall of my office, and I'm very proud of it. I received that from your institute some years back, as you'll recall, for the political work that I do. Now, what are we here to talk about today, Cal?
Well, you know, I'm so grateful that you're willing to be on the show too, and you know, I want everyone to know that he right now is recording in Wheaton, Illinois, and I'm here in Southern California, and so there's a lot of technical stuff going on. When he gets done, he's going to upload it, and my IT staff's going to edit it together like we used to do with Celeste Hackett. So it's really cool. I want to tell everybody out there that I managed to get an agreement from Scot to do 4 videos with us in this series. The first one's going to be legal and other challenges in our profession. It's about the future of our profession. Then we're going to talk about the NGH Complementary medical hypnotism program and how it relates to 5-path and etc. Next is going to be hypnotism in the medical environment, challenges, opportunities, and scope of practice. And then we're going to talk about forgiveness and really how that works into the whole realm of hypnosis and what hypnosis can do. And I believe we're going to start off with talking about the future of the profession, which is going to include legal and other challenges, right, Scot?
Absolutely. And our profession, the profession of hypnotism, has got a bright, bright future. The New York Times reports that since 2005, the psychotherapy market, the market exploited by people who are licensed mental health professionals, has been in contraction. The contraction at this point is about a third. The bloom is very much off the psychotherapeutic rose. People are not that interested in doing that kind of care anymore. They're interested in coaching. They're interested in more focused, shorter-term strategies. And hypnotism is one of the best ways to do short-term interventions that have long-term consequences. So I think we're at the right place at the right time with the right kind of training. And I think we're going to have a fantastic time. But, the history on this is interesting. The licensed mental health professionals tried years ago to completely destroy us as a profession. The National Guild of Hypnotists publishes a book called Hypnotic Reflections by Dr. Dwight Damon, the president of the Guild, which covers a lot of this time and the issues and struggles that we all faced during that time. And I recommend everyone read that book. On the other side of the professional horizon, we have organized hypnosis societies that limit their membership to people who are licensed healthcare professionals. And these organizations tried some years ago to actually destroy us as a profession. They held a meeting in New Orleans, and in that meeting they laid out their plan. What they didn't know, they had invited members of the chiropractic profession to attend this meeting, and also some of their own members were very much on our side and didn't like what the leadership of that organization was doing. So they supplied us with a complete transcript of their meeting, and we knew immediately what they were up to and began to work to correct it. In healthcare licensure, there's a difference between title protection and practice perfection. Practice protection means you have to have a license to do anything on a list of protected practices. Title protection simply means you need a license to call yourself a clinical psychologist or a professional counselor, but you can do the same things that psychologists or counselors do, provided you don't call yourself a psychologist or a counselor. Well, at that time, all the psychologists had was title protection. Their plan was to change their law into practice protection, so you had to be licensed as a psychologist to do anything on a list of protected practices. And hypnotism was on that list. So they figured that as their laws would change around the country, they would push us right out of the marketplace. Well, that didn't work. We were able to successfully stop them politically. The Guild did a tremendous amount of work and fighting in every state to halt that process. But now we exist as a separate and distinct profession, and attempts to outlaw us have essentially stopped. What we're seeing now, though, is attempts by the licensed healthcare professionals to enforce the laws that are already on the books in a highly, highly efficient way. And for them, this makes a lot of sense. The laws already exist. And if they go after someone practicing hypnotism in a community for violating their license laws, well, the state government pays the court costs of doing that, so it doesn't cost the licensing boards anything. We're even seeing now they're sending shoppers to practices. Shoppers are actors, often law students, who are pretending to be clients, and they come to your practice and they try to get you to say something that will get you in trouble, and then you get a cease and desist order. Now, the solution for this, as I think a lot of us know and most of us already do, is to always practice clean, to always practice in accordance with the law, in which case the shopper can't hurt you and you're always fine. But the problem our profession has as it emerges and grows as a separate and distinct profession is we really need to do what you've done at Five Path. We need to standardize things so that we all are using the same kind of language, the same kind of terms, and making the same kind of claims. But if we'll do that, I think we are going to have one of the largest helping professions in the nation. in the next 10 years. I really do believe that, Cal.
I think that really lays it out. You know, one of the things that I mean, as you're talking, I'm writing down notes about what you're saying, and you know, first of all, you and the NGH working together does more to protect our profession and help the ongoing development of the profession than any other organization out there. And the other thing, excuse me, is that when these other organizations, be it AMA, APA, American Psychological Association, whatever, start limiting this practice, there's two or three things that work. One is just fear. They don't understand what we're doing, and so the NGH works with these different organizations to help educate them. I was involved in a meeting with a psychologist that was just really willing to listen and find out what hypnotists really do. And another thing is this, you know, of course, greed, this practice protection thing, and it's sad when fear and greed overwhelm the higher good of the community, of helping people. I mean, thousands of people every day are being helped by the working consulting hypnotists. Isn't that right, Scott?
Absolutely. And I want to add that while the leadership of these other organizations may oppose our existence as a profession because they see us cutting in on their income stream, many of the individual members of these professions are totally in support of us. They do not agree with what the leadership of these organizations are doing, and they stand with us and have helped us dramatically over the years.
Yeah, what we have to work on, again, I'm writing down as you're talking, is to help educate particular medicine that, you know, in the world of medicine, they have things, specialists like occupational therapists, like physical therapists, that, you know, regular MDs, doctors don't have the time to work on that kind of stuff, so they refer it out to these specialists. And if we can get into the psyche of the medical world, that we are the hypnotherapist when working with these kind of medical problems and fitting in just like the occupational therapist or the massage therapist or the physical therapist. What do you think of that, Scott?
I think that's absolutely the case. We should not try to be junior psychiatrists. We should be doing hypnotism. That's our craft, and we are better at that than almost anyone else. And when a healthcare professional has a need for hypnotism, we should be the people that are involved in providing that care. And my hope is someday there won't be a hospital in the nation that doesn't have a hypnotist on staff or even a group of hypnotists on staff to provide that service. Here at my practice, and I specialize in medical hypnotism, I do more than 100 pre-surgical hypnotic inductions a year. I get referrals all the time from the medical establishment for that, because they've learned over the 25 years of my practice in this Wheaton location is that a patient undergoing pre-surgical hypnosis has a dramatically smoother surgical experience. They have less pain, far less worry. They heal more quickly. In fact, when we monitor the pain medication taken by the patient post-surgery, and if they have an epidural where there's a little button they push and a machine automatically releases painkillers into the spinal fluid, that machine tracks how much medicine, how much pain drug the patient is using. If that patient has had a pre-surgical induction, they use about half as much pain medication to keep themselves comfortable as someone who hasn't had a pre-surgical induction.
You know, and that probably just in and of itself saves lives, because the less of the chemicals are induced, the more likely they are to survive.
Not just that, you also heal better if you're not using as much pain medication. Pain medication is a systematic depressant. It slows everything down, including healing. And plus, there's a savings in cost if you're not consuming as much medication. So, you know, there is no question at all that pre-surgical hypnotic work is a great value for everyone, for the surgeon, for the patient, for the hospital. It's the only people who don't prosper are the drug companies, because you're using less drugs. But and there's excellent research on pre-surgical hypnotic inductions and their effectiveness. Yet they're underused because most doctors simply don't know that we're available, that we exist, and this service is something their patients could use. So we got a big problem with public education ahead of us. We're going to have to really work to get the word out. In fact, the National Guild of Hypnotists, the convention coming up in August, that's going to be one of the big themes, getting the word out, telling the community what we as consulting hypnotists do and how much value we bring to the community. And if we can be effective with that, that's going to, again, help us grow amazingly.
You know, so much of it is, like you say, communication. One is getting the word out to professionals and society at large, and the other is getting the word out to ourselves to be more consistent in the way we present ourselves and also in our practice, to more systematize what we do, so that when someone says, I'm a consulting hypnotist or I'm a National Guild of Hypnotists certified hypnotherapist, that it has a meaning, right?
Absolutely. Dr. Damon created this little pamphlet. He calls it the secret weapon, the truth about hypnotism. He wants us to be giving those out wherever we go. And I do that too. It's kind of fun. I leave them in men's rooms and waiting rooms. I was at my ophthalmologist this morning having my eyes checked, so I left a few in the waiting area. We need to get that word out. We need to be telling people the value that we bring to the community. And if we can do that, then the community is going to be welcoming of us. And we'll get away from this fear that you said. Just so much of what drives American healthcare today is financial. And people are concerned more about protecting markets and protecting their turf. In fact, in political work, there's even a name for it. It's called rent chasing, the use of public law to conduct private business, to get restrictive laws out so that only you can do a certain service. Now, it's going on all through the healthcare environment. One of the big fights we had here in Illinois some years back was about earwax. Earwax. Well, you see, audiologists people who fit hearing aids wanted to be able to remove earwax from the ears of their patients so they could get a good fitting for the hearing aid. But many of the physicians said, oh no, that's a surgical experience. You got to come to us to have the earwax removed. Although you can walk into any drugstore and buy an earwax removal kit over the counter. It's that kind of silly stuff that happens. We need to get away from it. And how we get away from it is telling people what we do and how valuable it is.
What do you think are that 2 or 3 things that our viewers could take away from this that, that they can do to help ensure the future of our profession?
Well, the first thing is definitely practice clean. If you're a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, heck, even if you're not a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, go to the Guild website, ngh.net, and download the Code of Ethics, the Standards of Practice, and the recommended terminology for hypnotic practice. And then use them. The Code of Ethics is pretty straightforward, but the standards of practice, everything from how to do a client bill of rights, how to what kind of disclaimers to use, how to present yourself, what kind of titles you should be using when holding services out to the public, using our terminology so you don't accidentally use therapeutic language like depression or phobias, anxiety. Use our language instead. It's not depression, it's sadness. It's not anxiety, it's worry. It's not phobias, it's fears. Use our language that avoids therapeutic language because the therapeutic language is regulated and protected in those practice protection license laws. So the very first thing, practice clean. In your language, in your ads, in your records, use the proper language so you don't even give the appearance of invading the protected territory of a healthcare professional. That's the very first thing you need to do.
Okay, so what we're going to do is on calbanyan.com, with the notes that go with this podcast, we're going to have links to that and everything else that's important brought up in this video. Cool. Anything else you want to add to that, Scott?
Well, I think the second thing, you asked me for 3, and when you ask a minister for 3 points, you get 3 points. We don't cut that short.
Okay.
So the second point, I think, is going to be very, very careful about your client education. The Guild recommends a document called the Client Bill of Rights, which is a structured disclaimer which you give to every client, which expresses who you are, how you were trained, what your scope of practice is. It is the ultimate CYA document. If you have given that to every single client, no one can ever come back at you and say that you were misleading the public. You've been completely clear, you've been completely transparent, and that's the right thing. And the third thing is, read your journal of hypnotism, stay aware with what's happening in the profession, because things are changing. The marketplace is changing. When I began my practice 25 years ago, I purchased books that told me how to design my Yellow Pages ad. Now, no one uses the Yellow Pages anymore. It's all, Facebook and leveraged social networking and websites and blogs and so on. So you got to stay current with where the marketplace is and changes that are happening. The Guild, working in conjunction with Jason Linnett, one of our certified instructors at Virginia Hypnosis, is doing a series of great YouTube videos about lead developing marketing and 21st century marketing of your practice. Pay attention to that material. It is gold. And can I put a final point up there, Cal?
Well, you know what? I think we packed a whole bunch into this first episode. I'm really grateful that you're here and you're willing to do this. Let me mention, if you're noticing that I am, Scott's probably the smartest guy in our profession. I want to recommend that we go to the National Guild of Hypnotists Convention, and he's got 3 talks coming up. One is a 2-hour talk on Friday. It's how a consulting hypnotist can design a practice in complementary medical hypnotism, have a practice that results in a 6-figure income using referrals. And you know what? He knows all about it because he's done that. Ethical and legal issues for the consulting hypnotist, where we stand with legislation around the country. That's on Saturday. It's a free 2-hour program. And the National Guild of Hypnotists certification course in complementary medical hypnotism. And he'll teach you what he's been doing in the medical environment, having a very successful medical practice, and that's on Monday and Tuesday, the same time as my age regression certification course. So all you 5-pathers out there that are already certified in 5-path and are already rocking it with age regression, then I really want to recommend you attend this 2-day medical hypnotism certification course with Scott Giles. You'll come out smarter and better off for it. All right. Thank you very much, Scott.
My pleasure.
All right. Once again, this is Cal Banyan. I've got a certification course coming up in October. All the links and information, that kind of stuff is here on calbanyan.com. And of course, some of you guys are watching this on Google Plus and YouTube and iTunes and Facebook. That's all right. Go to calbanyan.com and get all the notes and links that go along with this. This is Cal Banyan signing off. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and the Banyan Hypnosis Center for Training and Services, Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without permission. For contact information, go to www.hypnosiscenter.com.